Everybody, John the other here, obviously. And I'm confident that everybody listening to this today knows about what is being reported as the metoo backlash. Now, for those who don't know, or for those who are really slow, Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook and the founder of Lean In, canvassed, I think, 5,000 or more guys in the business world, and what they found was that 60% of men in the workforce now are reluctant or unwilling to have a closed-door meeting with their female colleagues or subordinates, or, share private space, or share a taxi ride, or have a private dinner, or anything like that. And Sandberg and the other feminist talking head, semi-famous bimbos, are all pretending to be shocked and outraged at this completely unexpected result.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
And of course, they're calling it a backlash. They're calling it like it's a rejection of Me Too. It's a counter movement against Me Too, which is calling it the backlash is a deception. You're being lied to. You're being deceived. And what I mean is that Me Too, the Me Too movement, fundamentally changed the rules of our society. And the change is as follows. Any woman who is annoyed with a man for any reason, because of the way he walked in the morning, because of what he said, or maybe because of what he didn't say, for whatever reason, a finger can be pointed and that man can be vaporized out of his career, out of his education, out of his profession, out of his ability to pay his mortgage or take care of his kids, out of his ability to live indoors. Push him out onto the street and maybe push him to the point of suicide. Any man can be vaporized out of his life by a pointed finger and a whispered accusation, and he doesn't even ever have to actually know what the specifics of the accusation are. There's no, inquiry into the facts. That's been done away with, which fundamentally changes the power dynamic of society. Any man can be vaporized by any woman for any reason, and there's no defense. And of course, the goal of this change is to radically modify the behavior of men, which it has done.
And so my message is, if we want to change workplace dynamics,
and it will continue to do. I mean, not everybody's fully caught up to speed on the new way things work now. Only 60% of men surveyed said out loud that they were unwilling or reluctant to, share closed door office space with a female colleague, or a taxi ride, or a private dinner. So the guys implementing the Mike Pence rule, or any version of it, which, according to the survey, 60% are, and I would guess it's actually higher, that's not a backlash. They are exactly and precisely conforming to the new rules as laid down by Me Too. Calling it a backlash is a grand deception. You're being lied to when you hear the word backlash. Which brings me to the other thing. The second point that I wanted to talk about is that in the interview that's been widely circulated of Sandberg, at the very end of the interview, she says that it is totally unacceptable for men to be implementing, what we all know is the Mike Pence rule.
last year it was 46% of men were afraid to have that one-on-one meeting. Today it's 60%. Both are totally unacceptable.
And that suggests to me that Me Too is that the Mike Pence rule, this keeping yourself safe by having no contact or not having a closed-door meeting, this is very, very quickly going to be made, if not actually illegal, then effectively illegal. It will be disallowed. It will be banned. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that, suddenly everybody working with women we're all just casualties. We're all just walking dead with targets on our backs. You can't just change the rules and people march themselves off a cliff to their own destruction. What that's going to mean is that society is going to further fracture apart. It won't just be men implementing the Mike Pence rule, on a case-by-case private basis, undeclared in their working lives, as is the case now, is that the working world of men and women is going to separate. Because human society can't function when every time a woman gets annoyed, somebody's basically effectively erased from society. And of course, we are going to continue to have a society, but we're going to have one that's divided. And the harder Me Too pushes, this movement to make men, vaporizable commodities, to eradicate any protection of law, the harder that goes, and it's going to go lots harder, the more divided and fractured and literally segregated, physically segregated society is going to become. So, yeah, Mike Pence rule is going to be made illegal, but don't worry. Don't let that bother you. You're just going to have to get more creative and more clever. And remember that your creativity and that of other men is an infinite resource. That's why we have a civilization. Thanks very much for listening, and as always, have a lovely, lovely day.